Chicago Bears training camp practice, day number 17. The pads were on today and the defense came to play. It was awesome to meet some fans the last few days. You guys are awesome. Today was a pretty fun practice. I'm going to break down everything you need to know. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The guys who missed practice today were Jaquan Brisker, Ryan Bates, Jacob Martin, Colin Johnson, DeAndre Carter, and Adrian Colbert. A lot of guys did return to practice today, including Nate Davis, Roshan Johnson, my guy Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, and more. As far as practice goes, Caleb Williams continues showcasing superstar talent at the quarterback position. Something is just different when you watch him. It's not just one simple thing or one ability. It's a combination of skills, confidence, talent, swagger, and he's just completely in control of this offense. He doesn't look phased. He's constantly working and trying to get better, trying to learn from this coaching staff, but never looks lost. That deer in the headlights look, it's all too familiar with quarterbacks. Literally almost every Bears quarterback I've ever watched in my life has seemed to adapt that look at some point. Caleb has never looked overwhelmed. He doesn't look like the spotlight is too big. He doesn't look like he's overwhelmed. He looks like a true student of the game and a guy I'm excited to have as our franchise quarterback going forward. We've been cursed at this position, but Caleb is the guy who will break that curse. DJ Moore did get shaken up a bit at one point. He got hit on a deep pass down the sideline. Couldn't tell if he held onto the ball or not, but he took a big hit and left practice momentarily. He would return later and make a great TD catch from Caleb Williams. DJ Moore seemed just fine. Keenan Allen would also have a huge day, making some spectacular catches. He also spent time working one-on-one with Caleb Williams on the side. It seemed like they were working on route concepts and timing. Awesome to see the veteran helping out our young quarterback. Keenan also had the best play of the day, beating what looked like cornerback Terrell Smith for a long TD pass from Caleb Williams. Caleb would get the defense to jump off sides multiple times today and almost took advantage of one of those free plays with a bomb to Rome Odunze, but it looked like he could not maintain the catch to the ground. I just continue to be very impressed with his development early on. As far as the running back rotation goes, I have a pretty interesting development here. At least as far as today's practice went, it was DeAndre Swift with the first team, Ian Wheeler was with the second unit, Bayless Jones Jr. was the third running back to come in, and then Khalil Herbert was fourth and Roshan Johnson was the fifth guy. I wouldn't look too much into this, especially with Roshan just returning to practice, but it could be an indication that Ian Wheeler and Bayless Jones Jr. will both be getting a lot of work against the Bengals this weekend, something to keep an eye on. Back to our daily dose of in the trenches, where we have some good news today. Nate Davis was back, and after being called week to week just 5 days ago by Matt Eberflus, he's already back to practice. This kind of surprised me. Nothing against Nate, but when you have guys who are day to day that are still out of practice, and Matt Eberflus called Nate Davis week to week, that is clear Eberflus talk that he expected Nate Davis to be out for multiple weeks. Having him back at practice just 5 days later seems a little odd to me. But here was our first team offensive line. Braxton Jones and Tevin Jenkins, Coleman Shelton at center, Nate Davis at right guard, finished off by Darnell Wright at right tackle. Matt Pryor did rotate in for a few reps at right guard, but Nate played most of the day. I forgot to mention it yesterday, but Tevin Jenkins does have a new haircut. Looks like it got faded up. Hopefully that could bring him some good luck this year. But as far as Nate Davis goes, he was getting walked most of the day. Jervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, and Dominique Robinson made him look like a whooping boy in 1v1 drills, and then he was getting beat by Jervon Dexter a few times in the team drills. Nothing to overreact. At least Nate Davis was back, but he did not have a great practice. The second team O-line looked like this. You had Larry Borum at left tackle, Bill Murray at left guard, Doug Kramer Jr. at center, Matt Pryor at right guard with Jake Curran at right tackle. Jerome Carvin might have been passed by Doug Kramer Jr. on the depth chart, and it seems like both Matt Pryor and Bill Murray have jumped ahead of third-year player Jatiri Carter. At tackle, Jake Curran is ahead of Avante Collins, and it seems like Curran is the guy who could be battling Larry Borum for the swing tackle job. Right now, Borum still seems like he could make the roster. He continues getting all of the second-team reps at left tackle. Speaking of left tackles, though, Karan Omegaji, our rookie left tackle, was working more with the trainers today, and it seems like he's ramping up and getting close to making his debut to practice. Really excited to see Karan on the field. Onto the defensive side of the ball, Montez Sweat was back in action. He was loud today, and taking over as the leader of this defense. Even when the second team unit was on the field, Tez would be screaming at the offense from the sidelines and hyping up the defense. He was yelling, "Don't let them get a yard, and you can't score on us," as this defense was fired up towards the end of practice. Montez even shoved Caleb Williams once and was kind of jawing at him. To me, it seems like Tez is really trying to push Caleb, and he's been challenging him. I love this dynamic between the leader of our defense and the future of this team, our franchise quarterback, something I just really love to see. The starting defensive line today was Montez Sweat and DeMarcus Walker at defensive end, with Trevon Dexter and big Andrew Billings on the inside. It seemed like Dominique Robinson was getting more reps mixed in as well. He just looks like a completely different player this year. Don't write off D-Rob yet. Trevon Dexter spent a lot of time working on the side with Eric Washington today. It seemed like they were working on his hand technique and his pass rush moves. The sky is the limit for Trevon, and I believe Eric Washington can only make him better. But during the 2-minute drill, Eberflus would use a different defensive line. He brought in Dominique Robinson to join DeMarcus Walker on the outside, with Zach Pickens and Trevon Dexter, the law firm, on the inside. Dom Robin Pickens seemed to be our first backups to come in, although there is some movement when it comes to the third and long pass rush unit. Daniel Hardy, Khalid Kareem, and Austin Booker all have gotten reps coming in on third and longs. Hardy and Kareem both made some plays today. And then Kyler Gordon, aka Spider-Man, was back in pads and practiced all day long. Kyler would break up a Caleb pass on one of the free plays. He had a great day, and it's great to see Kyler back at practice. On the other side of things, though, Tyreek Stevenson was in pads and practicing early, but he left and was working with trainers on the sideline. It looked like he was trying to do some sprints, and he seemed upset afterwards before going and sitting down on the sideline with the guys on the bikes. Something to definitely watch here, as Tyreek Stevenson could be forced to miss a little bit of time. The starting secondary most of the day was Jalen Johnson and Terrell Smith on the outside, with Kyler Gordon back in his usual role at nickelback. Kevin Byard at one safety spot, with Elijah Hicks filling in at the other. Hicks has played well all camp, and he seems to be ahead of Jonathan Owens right now. That's a bit surprising to me. You guys know I love Elijah Hicks, but I view Jonathan Owens as a starting caliber safety, and his addition this offseason has been mostly overlooked unless he's talking about Simone Biles. I do think he's a really solid player. Once again, our secondary is extremely talented, and we have a lot of depth, which is why I think I haven't been overly worried about a couple guys missing practice. This secondary should be just fine. Overall, it was a great day of practice. The defense looks so good. They're getting louder and more confident every day. We just need our stars to stay healthy, and this is easily a top 10 defense to me. On offense, the only real worry right now is the offensive line. But with Nate Davis returning to practice and Matt Pryor playing so great against the Bills, hopefully we can build some momentum with this O-line. We are still missing Ryan Bates, but Coleman Shelton has been looking good, and I think he's pretty much locked up that center spot. I met a couple more people at camp today. Shout out to Greg Braggs, Pat the designer, and Samo, as well as everyone else I got to meet. Also a shout out to the people I had blocked on Twitter that I ran into. I'm glad they were cool enough to realize that I don't take social media seriously. Glad I got to meet you guys as well. Also a shout out to one of the channel's biggest supporters, Eric Harper. Hung out with him at practice yesterday, but forgot to shout him out. And one final thing to watch out for. Anybody who watches Hard Knocks, there is a chance you might see Swifty and Samo next week. I'll just tell this brief story for you guys. The Hard Knocks crew was filming today, and this little kid was yelling out, "The claw is the law, the claw is the law." So when the Hard Knocks crew turned the camera around, I had everybody cheering and giving the claw, and the Hard Knocks crew recorded it. We're right there, center stage. It's possible, guys. I'm going to knock on wood, but check out Hard Knocks next week. Not getting my hopes up, but hey, could be on Hard Knocks. I appreciate everyone who watches these videos. Please remember to hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down. Me and Samo leaving training camp.
Yes, sir.
We got some squat up.
Squad up. Bear down.
Yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
No.
Oh my goodness. Keenan Allen, baby.
Kyler! Yeah!